aside, please. We have white privilege.
Yeah. We automatically assume we can take what we want, and we don't have to worry about the police.
We can take it because we have white privilege and we don't have to worry about the cops. I remember when I was a wee troll. I was just starting myself on the internet, and the first time ever I got introduced to this American forward-thinking ideology, it was under the form of a small poll. And the poll tried to see how privileged are you? And of course I tried to score the highest because I was like, look, I want to be a noble. I want to be the king. I want to be the nobility. Why would I want to be the peasantry? I want to show that I worked hard to achieve the privilege that I have. And to my dismay, I didn't have that much. I was like, how must I farm? How do I grind privilege? And like, oh, I need to become a Christian. Well, damn, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense, right? Because you have the moral value of the people around you, so you're more welcome. Like, I just don't wanna, like, how else? Like, my sexuality is very important. At the time, I was a teenager and I was a furry. Did you guys know I was a furry? I was like, oh, this crushes my privilege. So unlike Beavis and Butthead, I couldn't just take whatever I want because the cops would leave me alone. But it's really interesting because it upset a lot of people on Twitter. Comedy is very upsetting, offensive, harmful. And the reason that this is very popular and a lot of people like it is, first of all, it's fresh, it's new. Like, they're making fun of things that haven't been made fun of in a while. And secondly, you need to understand the blue check marks on Twitter, the intelligentsia. The way they push left-leaning identitarianism isn't by trying to persuade other people, isn't by trying to convince them that their side is right. They do it by mastering the conversation. This is actually what they say in academic papers. Like, they want to take control of the conversation. In other words, if they can control what people say, they can control what people think. So they say white people have privilege, and anyone that disagrees is spreading harmful misinformation needs to be shut down. But when you actually make a comedy sketch that shows, okay, white people have privilege, this is how they would act. Like spoiled brats. They go around, they take whatever they want because they're not afraid of the police. No one stops them. This is the world where white people have privilege. Well, when you do that, you regain control of the conversation because any person looking at it is like, oh yeah, that is kind of ridiculous now, isn't it? Like, people don't really act that way. But yeah, like, if people would have privilege, they would act that way. I mean, in a gang environment, and I'm telling you this because I grew up in the ghetto. I grew up in a very impoverished neighborhood. And the people that had privilege were the ones that were friends with the gang leaders. Like, they could behave any way they wanted and they wouldn't get punished. And they did behave like assholes because of it. Because they did have privilege and they could afford to behave like that. It's the same in ancient times where you had the nobility and the peasantry. The nobles could behave like assholes in front of the peasants because they did have privilege. Like, why would you have privilege if you don't use it? So, this is why this is such powerful commentary. And I really love the fact that this is exactly what Beavis and Butthead used to be. Now, when it came out, it made fun of the moral busybody Christians because that was the American culture at the time. But now the American culture is modern identitarian left wing. I mean, Hollywood supports it, politicians support it, every corporation supports it. Therefore, it is the mainstream. It is the dominant culture. So if you want to make comedy, like the left says, and you want to punch up, well, this is the culture that you need to make fun of. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.